Welcome to another edition of CATA's Tech Now Television. I'm your host, Kevin Wennekes, Chief Business Officer, and I'm very pleased to have joining us today two guests, Eric Torunski, Executive Director of the Canadian Interoperability Technology Interest Group, and a face familiar to many of you watching this channel, Steve Palmer, Executive Director for Collaborative Center for Justice and Safety at the University of Regina, and our Public Safety Advisory Board Chair. Gentlemen, welcome to the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
So we're here today to discuss, of course, the very exciting developments within the world of the public safety broadband network. It was included in the most recent federal budget as a line item, a commitment to contribute the other 10 megahertz of spectrum, as well as a budget amount to help kickstart everything into next year. Eric, starting with you, obviously, many people know CATAAlliance as sort of the lead champion within the Canadian context on this campaign, having been the organization that's been pivotal to advocating and providing greater awareness and education around this. Let's turn it over to you for your initial thoughts on this win, and perhaps starting with a little bit of background on the organization for those who may not be as familiar with it.
Right, yeah, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, we were incredibly pleased by the announcement on, it was last Tuesday in the federal budget. Essentially, we'd been working on getting this announcement for, I'd say, almost 5 years. Back in 2009, it was made known that the Americans would be migrating their analog TV channels to digital in 2009, and Industry Canada followed up, announcing something similar for 2012. And in 2010, we realized that the Americans were making a play for that 20 megahertz block of 700 megahertz spectrum. And we at CATAAlliance started rallying the Chiefs Association around 2010 to make the similar ask. So by early, I guess it was late 2011, we had Industry Canada announcing a consultation. We, again, CATAAlliance was involved in replying to that consultation. There was some work done in 2012 and a follow-up consultation. Again, trying to get more at the issue of what responders would do with the spectrum, and of course we replied to that. The Minister of Industry in 2012 announced that 10 megahertz, 700 megahertz spectrum would be allocated to public safety. We welcomed that announcement and right away began working on ensuring the other 10, for a total of 20, to match the U.S. was going to be offered as well. And it was fantastic. That day last week came when the announcement was made that the full 20 would be allotted, and the federal government also mentioned that they would provide $3 million, $1.5 million in next fiscal, and another $1.5 million after that, to begin working on the deployment of a public safety broadband network. So, great announcement. Lots of work to do yet.
Understood. Certainly, CATA has been working alongside CATAAlliance since its earliest days. And I guess when we talk about earliest days, this is where we might go to Steve Palmer. Because, Steve, I know from our very early experiences working together, the ideas and issues around interoperability and the need for a way to link responder community more intrinsically through communications has always been on the table. And I know through your various roles, from the CPRC, Canadian Police Research Centre, in the earliest days, through to your time at DRDC, where really, I believe it was there that the very early support for CATAAlliance was begun, through to the transition where it's now run and operated by the three Chiefs Associations. You've been instrumental all along through all of that. And certainly I think today in your current role have an eye to other advantages this network can bring. So why don't you just give us a little bit of your own response to the budget announcement and your own involvement in this important initiative.
Well, I share Eric's response to the budget announcement. This was a fantastic news. It really de-risks so much of what we've been calling for, trying to get that additional spectrum. It's been 10-year evolution really in interoperability in Canada, where we started with voice and now we're going into data. And it's developing into what I would call a business transformation. And it's going to have significant impact for Canada in the digital economy. We are looking at business opportunities. We are looking at public safety opportunities. We are looking at new ways to use technology to share information with the front line, enhance situational awareness, and to do to make basically make Canada safer and actually stronger. I'm looking at 4 really critical success factors as we go forward. The underlying one is certainly safe, efficient, effective implementation of the public safety broadband network in Canada. But I also want to see public safety recognized for its important role in the digital economy, because it is a major user and it is a major influencer. I also want the public safety sector to have significant input into the collaborations with, in the development of the implementation and the collaborations with industry. The converse of that from the industry side, and many of the CATA members' role, is they too want to have this opportunity in this significant business. So that's that's part of our working forward stance, and it's going to be a fascinating couple of years as we get this rolled out.
Thanks for mentioning the digital economy, Steve, because I think what clearly gets lost sometimes when we start talking about the public safety broadband network is perhaps the focus on, well, how much is this going to cost? But I think the other side of this equation is, how much is this going to create in terms of value, investment, new commercialized products and services, and the capability to bring Canada to the forefront of the global stage in terms of the development of these interoperable solutions and processes. So if maybe I just stick with you for one moment to paint some of the clear opportunities that this network presents in terms of impacting on our digital economy.
Well, we have an opportunity in front of us, given the funding that's been put on the table, to actually develop a very strong business case to demonstrate the return on investment. If we are providing enhanced situational awareness, enhanced information to the frontline responders, looking at whether it's chemical spills, motor vehicle accidents, or just day-to-day transportation of patients, advancing the activities that paramedics are looking at in community medicine, all of those bring enhanced value to Canada.
Eric, I know one of the discussions around our table has been, even among the responder community, an understanding of what will this network bring to us. We're not just talking about being able to talk on a cell phone across the country. Could you paint a picture of some of the new approaches, new processes, new developments that could occur as a result of a national public safety broadband network?
Yes, incredibly important for responders to move them into the 21st century, obviously. There's, right now responders can have access to broadband data, but it's limited. It's only in certain places right now, and it's through commercial networks. When broadband data becomes readily available for responders, then we're going to start to see all these new apps and new capabilities coming up, mostly in situational awareness, whether that's getting a map of something or building plans if you're fighting a fire or sending your SWAT team in. It's getting paramedicine information directly. You'd be walking up to an accident scene, be able to monitor patients quickly, being able to send either text, video, or other data to the hospital to give them a heads up, to maybe even triage on the spot. Police officers, of course, in any type of major incident, having data, using video feeds that are available, whether it's from cameras or body-worn video, having that pipe to bring whatever data to one spot or many spots for people to view, analyze, and make decisions upon will fundamentally change how responders do their work in the field. Now, not just major incidents, but everyday work, whether it's license plate recognition for police or simple calls. There's a vast amount of opportunity here. And you know what, to pick up on Steve's point, I see it as an incredible opportunity for Canadian industry, because not only do we have this public safety broadband network about to get built in Canada, the US and FirstNet have already started. They have a major budget. They have already started implementing some demonstration sites, test sites, and full broadband networks in Seattle, for instance, and other places. They're in the middle about to start another RFP. There are a multitude of ways for industry, Canadian industry, to get involved in this sector. So I hope to see our Canadians do well in this, because public safety is definitely a growing sector right now, and it has a lot to do with the creation of public safety broadband networks.
So that's excellent. I mean, we have you know, we've identified some of the tools, some of the benefits. You know, the budget announcements informed us we're going to get to 10. We've got some funding. In my discussions out there, it's okay. So what's next with these announcements? You know, and with the elephant in the room, it's an election year. These commitments are, in most instances, in place for next year. And with your words, Eric, there's still much work left to be done. Maybe you can help our audience understand what is some of that work that's being planned right now from you know, your organization in terms of moving this file forward. What are some of your key messages? What are some of the key next steps we should be seeing coming from CATAAlliance? Right.
Yes. The announcement may have come last week, but the work has been going on for a long time. And I can tell you that places such as the University of Regina and the Collaborative Center for Justice, the Center for Security Sciences, the Communications Research Center, part of Industry Canada, have been working hard for the last few years on, I guess, what I would call maybe the technical side of things. Now, that work is vital. It's going to continue, and I believe that we will be in a good spot to handle all those technical issues as they come along. From CATAAlliance's perspective and from the Chiefs Association, what we are pushing for now, we were pushing for that additional 10 megahertz announcement. We got that. Has some funding, fantastic. We want to see a focus on governance. Now, back in 2012, we were part of a number of stakeholders got together to figure out how a broadband network might work in Canada. And this was in, I forget how many, maybe 50, 60. CATAAlliance was involved, stakeholders in Montreal in 2012, and we came up with what we referred to as the Montreal model. Now, the Montreal model has a national entity that controls the license for the spectrum, that kind of sets out the standards and game rules for each of the jurisdictions to go ahead and set up their own entity, pretty much along the lines of provincial and territorial boundaries. Now, each territory or province can deploy the network in the way they see fit, as long as they adhere to these national standards and operating procedures to ensure interoperability across the entire network. So something that works in Saskatchewan can work in Nova Scotia, can work in the Yukon, etc. And so we can communicate back and forth, and we can communicate north-south, because of course we know major incidents are restricted to country borders. We will need to be interoperable with our American counterparts. So again, I guess our main messages are we're incredibly pleased to see that announcement. We want the technical work to continue. There's a lot of good people working on it. But now we need to really focus on governance to figure out how make some of those important decisions that will affect how the network is deployed and operated from in the future. And the only way to do that is to really work on some of those recommendations that were provided in the Montreal model and on governance.
And so what do you hear then, Eric, in terms of the next steps? You know, we have the government announcement. You know, are you going to be receiving a certificate for the spectrum, saying, okay, guys, start using it as you see fit, in terms of managing expectations and desire for governance? Is there another consultation being planned? Is there an event taking place through CTIG that is going to be assessing stakeholder input on this? What are some of the tangibles that you see resulting from this announcement and moving forward to actually start implementing and developing the network?
Yeah, well, you know what, I'd say all of the above or most of the above. You know, the future is not totally set, but I would imagine that in the next couple of months we might see a little more formal announcement to explain what that $3 million will be used for. I expect the Public Safety and Industry Canada coming out with a few more details, which will help guide what happens next. I also expect, probably by the end of this year, to have a third consultation from Industry Canada that might focus on some of the conditions of license and how to, so responders and responder organizations, or public safety in general, can demonstrate how they might use the network or what the general plan is. So those are probably with the couple things that I know that I imagine will happen in the next little while. One thing I do know that will happen in the next little while is the presence of the three associations. They did send a press release out last week expressing their views, thinking that was fantastic. But the announcement, final draft is coming soon on a letter to the ministers explaining that yes, indeed, it's fantastic news. Let's focus on governance. Let's keep working at it, and responders will continue to be an active partner in this process, and will work with government to help them with their leadership and vision to make sure this responder network becomes a reality.
And Steve, as you know, in your role, both at the center and as our chair, you know, we've been very active in helping support the responder community in this pursuit. At the board level, we're also looking at a number of ways to continue to support. Could you share on the board's behalf some of what we're hoping will continue to take place as we move forward on this agenda?
Well, one of the things that CATA has been very strong in is advocacy on behalf of the interests of the responder community, as well as the interests of industry in moving forward with the public safety broadband network. And we're certainly being guided by the board to continue that. One of the action items that we will be doing is more of these little vignettes, video vignettes of getting information out on topical pieces of information regularly, so that people can refer to them and use them at their leisure. You know, we're looking at the possibility of associated events, and certainly we remain open to assisting in the development of the governance, much like the role CATA took in development of the Montreal model. Of helping bring industry to the table. And I just came back from a meeting in Calgary talking about emergency management and resilience of communities. And I think it's very important that we remember the important role that industry plays in major events, the supply chains that they have that provides resources in response to major disasters, the role that they play in keeping their businesses up and running, and as we restore the economy, of keeping the jobs in place. So I think, you know, as we develop the guidance and the conditions of license for public safety broadband, we have opportunity there to have input from industry to see what what their needs might be as they not only protect their critical infrastructure, but make their resources available to the response community in times of need.
Well, thank you for mentioning our plans regarding the ongoing videos. Yes, certainly in terms of our discussion and understanding, we know that, from both sides of the equation, a better understanding of how will this network be used and how will it impact responders and industry is something we want to explore by bringing experts to this forum and allowing them to share with our audience some of those outcomes and what the value this network will bring. So certainly thank you for mentioning that, and I encourage our watchers, viewers today to keep tuned to this channel, because we will certainly be exploring this in greater depth with more experts. Eric, back over to you. You mentioned a couple of the initiatives, next steps that will be taking place. CATAAlliance is definitely the organization that is going to continue to help carry this ball forward. So maybe, and through the miracle of post-production, I'll be adding your email and contact information to this production. But maybe just a few real easy action items, a low-hanging fruit for people watching today, whether they're in government, private sector, academic. What would you ask them to do in terms of working with CATAAlliance and helping move this forward?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Kevin. Anybody, whatever sector they're in, they really need to look at the deployment of the broadband, public safety broadband network, and figure out what it means to their organization. Different regions, it'll mean something different. Some provinces are already working on some sort of deployment plan or user needs. Other provinces are lagging behind a bit. So I would encourage anyone interested in this, or anyone who sees an opportunity in this, to get in touch with some of their provincial leaders or public safety leaders in that particular province to ask them, what are you doing to prepare for the deployment of this? That'd be step one. Getting informed about the issue. I mean, CATAAlliance's been carrying the flag for a few years. We'll continue doing it. We have some information at www.action700.ca. I imagine that site will get revised now that we have the second 10, but we will revamp that site to try and provide the most timely information on that. Our annual public safety workshop happens in Toronto this year, November 29th to December 2nd. We should be in a position to start promoting that heavily next week. We're just working on some of the marketing materials now. I can assure you that 700, the public safety broadband network and how to use the spectrum will be a featured topic. I'm working, been working a lot with our friends south of the border at FirstNet to get more information on their experience and how that's going there, and we'll try and do a few sessions that will help Canadians come to grips with the massive work that needs to be done to deploy this network. So I'm excited about that. So those are, I would say, those are the immediate things. Learn more, get involved, because this is going to be a big deal. It's a game changer.
Excellent. I agree a whole 100% there, Eric, and I'm certainly looking forward to working with you and the other many stakeholders involved in this as we continue to advance this campaign, because clearly the work is just beginning. So thank you very much for joining me today, Eric. I'm sure we'll have you back on, as CATAAlliance 9 starts to develop, to share the agenda and what the outcomes of that will be, and certainly I think as we hit some key milestones and new developments in terms of pursuit of the network, I believe you're going to be a regular guest on these. So thank you very much for joining me today. It looks like we might have lost Steve. Steve, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm sure we'll have you both back on again very soon. And for our viewers, I'm very happy to announce I just confirmed that Senator Vern White will be our next speaker in this series promoting the Public Safety Broadband Network, and this will be taking place next week. So stay tuned, more to come, And thanks everyone for joining me today. And again, thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Pleasure.
Yeah.